Today, a little bit of an interesting video. Again, this is going to be a top 10, but I'm listing way more than 10 watches as I normally do. This is going to be the top 10 watches that you should just go out and buy right now. Stop thinking about them and just buying them. Now, I do want to make some caveats, as I do with all of my videos. If you don't have the money to buy a watch, don't buy a watch. If you're going to go into debt to buy a watch, obviously do not buy a watch. However, if you're thinking about one of the watches that I talk about on this list, it is my advice to just go and buy it because I have experience with these watches and I absolutely love them. Some of the watches, actually many of the watches on this list I own, and I am taking this from personal experience. So I'm going to start with number one. It's a Bulova. It is the Bulova Super Seville. If you are not familiar with this watch, it is an integrated bracelet watch that Bulova came out with this year. It's a reissue of a square or TV screen watch, depends on what you want to call it. It's a dressy integrated bracelet watch that is a little bit different from all the other integrated bracelet watches that you've seen in the past that are inspired by Gerald Genta. This is actually a quartz watch. It gets a proprietary high precision quartz movement. It's called the Precisionist, and I've brought this up here on my channel a number of times. It's only an 8 joule quartz movement, but it vibrates at a remarkable 262 kilohertz, which gives you a beautiful sweep seconds. So anything that's using a Precisionist movement gets this beautiful sweep second that is actually smoother than a high-end, high-beat movement. This is more akin to a spring drive, obviously not as smooth as a spring drive, but it doesn't cost as much as a spring drive either. These watches come in at around $500. Actually, they're on sale right now. They're around $550, I believe, on the Bulova website directly from Bulova. Also, I do want to mention that these are extremely accurate. They're accurate up to 10 seconds plus or minus per year, which is obviously incredible. Next watch on this list is a Vulcain. It is the Vulcain Skin Diver that they recently came out with. I think they came out with it last year. And this year they added a beautiful bracelet to this watch. It's sort of a solid link bracelet. And when I say that, it's a single link that would normally be a 3-link in any other watch. However, it's just one link. A lot of people said, oh wow, that looks really uncomfortable. It is not. I own this watch. I own it on the bracelet. It comes with an ETA movement. It's really nicely sized. It's priced really well as well. It looks like a vintage diver on your wrist. They're around 38, 39 millimeters. They're thin. The bracelet is phenomenal. Screwed links, solid end links, and you're getting on-the-fly micro adjust that works really, really well. It's actually one of the nicest clasps that I've seen on any watch under $2,000. In fact, the entire bracelet is one of the best bracelets, and it's one of the most original bracelets that I've seen on any watch under $2,000, hands down. And that's one of the reasons why I like this watch so much. The head of this watch, the case of this watch, the dial, everything about it is very straightforward and good looking. However, once you put this bracelet on that watch, it looks like something completely different and in a good way. And I highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for an off-the-beaten-path dive watch that's really, really good. The next watch on this list is another watch that I own. It's a Longines, and it's the HydroConquest GMT. However, I would also include the Zulu time here as well. That GMT, which is in titanium, it's more expensive, so I do want to mention that watch here. It's really, really nice. However, I went with the HydroConquest because it was a little bit cheaper. It's not chronometer certified. That's mainly the reason why. And it's also a dive watch. I love everything about this watch. It's obviously a Flyer GMT, which was a big selling point, especially considering the price point. You can get these at a discount. I paid just over $2,000 for it. It has a beautiful bracelet. It has a beautiful dial, a beautiful bezel. The case is beautiful. Everything about this watch screams premium GMT, except for the price. The price, obviously, on the secondary market, you can get just over $2,000, and you can buy these brand new, and they're really not all that expensive compared to the amount of watch that you're actually getting. I believe they have 300 meters of water resistance. The on-the-fly micro adjust, again, on these watches is phenomenal. Very similar to what you get from that Vulcain. So they're very, very similar systems. In general, I think these are great watches. However, I went with the HydroConquest because I like a diver style a little bit better. The next watch, another watch that I own, it is a Blancpain Swatch collaboration. And yes, I normally do not love these watches. Even though I do collect them, I don't recommend them to people. However, there is one that I would recommend, and is the Ocean of Storms, the all-black version of the Blancpain Swatch collaboration. This watch looks like a Blancpain 50 Fathoms. This watch looks like a Blancpain 50 Fathoms. All you need to do is change the strap, put it on a sailcloth strap, and you are good to go. Obviously, again, it's not a watch that you could wear every day, but I think these are really, really very good looking watches. You put it on a black strap and it looks like $1 million. It really does look like a watch that would sell for $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 directly out of a Blancpain boutique. However, it's not, because it's made out of plastic and it has the name Swatch on it, and it only costs $450. I definitely recommend this specific model to anyone who wants something that looks like a really expensive watch, but obviously isn't. Next, I'm going to name two Timex watches that I think are amazing, and if you can get your hands on them, definitely buy them. One is continually sold out, and one is brand new. The one that's completely sold out and has been for quite some time is the Marlin Jet. This was inspired by the Jet Age. It's a completely different watch from what Timex normally make. It gets a very boxed, domed crystal on it. It is a Hesalite, so obviously it's not a sapphire crystal, but that's actually a good thing because of the dome on this. It's automatic. It gets a silver dial. The dial is a bowl dial. It's like no other watch that you have ever seen, especially at the price point. These come in at around $300. It's an extremely original looking watch that has some amazing inspiration behind it for $300. Hands down, if you can get your hands on one of these, I recommend it without thinking. Buy this watch. It is awesome. And the next Timex that I want to mention is a Timex that I just recently reviewed here on my channel. It's one of my favorite current Timexes. It's the Expedition North GMT in titanium. If you're interested in that watch, I'll put a link up above. I just did a review on it. It's a very, very good looking GMT in titanium. It gets 200 meters of water resistance, a sapphire crystal. And yes, it's in grade 2 titanium and it has an NH34. But with that being said, still, I think it's one of the best affordable GMTs that you can currently buy on the market. And it definitely is a Seiko killer. If you see it in person, you'll want one. So definitely don't hesitate on that watch. And yet another watch that I own, Deno and Chan. This was the B1. It came out earlier in the year. It immediately sold out. It's an integrated bracelet watch inspired by brutalist design. And of course, these were extremely popular when they came out. They sold out in about an hour. They are going to be releasing more of these eventually in some different forms. I hear rumblings about a titanium one and some other materials. However, when they do not hesitate. This is one of the coolest watches that I own. It's around $4,000. It's automatic. It has an ETA movement inside. It's nothing too crazy. 904L stainless steel, but the design here, the inspiration behind it, it's also inspired by a King Midas. It's just a cool looking cocktail watch that's an integrated bracelet with a lapis dial. I love this watch and I do not hesitate jumping on it immediately when it came out. I do not regret that. And I highly recommend, if you like the look of this watch, jump on the next one. I can only see the prices going up in the future, not down. So definitely jump on Deno and Chan when you have the chance. Next is a watch that I only recently got hands-on with. I actually have it here in my possession right now, and I am really enjoying it. It is the new Citizen Promaster Land. These are analog digital watches that have tons of functionality, really good looking watches that remind you of something like a Breitling and maybe a dive watch had a baby. It's a very weird looking watch, but something about the display, something about this watch, I really am enjoying. I've only gotten to know it a little bit so far, but there's tons of functionality behind it. You're getting a world timer, a chronograph, some alarms. There's a light level indicator because these are eco drive. You're getting a perpetual calendar. There's a power save mode. There's 200 meters of water resistance. So you're getting a lot in one package. When Citizen make a capable watch, I mean, they really go all out. And this is an extremely capable watch that looks really good. And I actually have the camo edition in for review. It's just a cool looking watch that I'm very excited about and I want in my collection. So when I first saw this, it was a watch that I knew that I had to have. The next watch on this list is the Mad 1. I want to say they're made by MB&F, but obviously they're not. They're made by Mad 1 Studios, which is part of the MB&F family. These are a lower cost version of an MB&F. So essentially these are powered by Miyota movements, or at least the one that I have is powered by a Miyota movement. It's an 8 series. These were affordable when they first came out. They were under $3,000. Now they're over $3,000 and they're getting a Le Jouperet movement. So you're getting a higher end movement. But that being said, these are good looking, or at least I think they're good looking. Some people, I could see how they would think they are pretty ugly, but I think they're good looking, weird watches. You have this battle axe rotor on the front. There's plenty of lume. You tell the time on the side of the watch. It's just an interesting watch from a watchmaker that usually makes watches that cost $50,000, $75,000, $100,000. So you're getting something that's pretty special from a watchmaker that is very special. So, and that's why I recommend just jumping on one if you're able to get one. And they do lotteries pretty often now. However, with that being said, their watches are still very, very limited. So if you can get one, definitely buy one. The next brand on this list is a brand that I currently don't own. However, I do plan on owning in the near future. It is Studio Underdog. Here in New York City in October, there will be a wind-up watch fair and they will be there, and I want to buy one of their watches that weekend. I specifically would love to get one of the pizza dials. I think they're going to be selling them there, so hopefully I'll be able to get one. These are affordable hand-wound watches. They recently came out with a watch that's not so affordable. I think it's around $2,000. It's getting a Sellita SW510. However, the ones I'm talking about are the ones with the ST19. They're affordable, they have a really colorful dial, and they're a watch brand that don't take it all that seriously, and you guys know I love that. That's the reason why I'm kind of attracted to these watches. They also came out with a field watch that I really like as well, but it will be the chronograph with the pizza dial that I go for, just to give myself a giggle and also my kids. Next watch on this list, I think a lot of people will agree with me. It's a Christopher Ward, it's the Bel Canto. This is another watch that I immediately jumped on. I jumped on the blue dial, the original blue dial when that came out. I immediately jumped on it because I knew this was going to be something very special, and it is. The Bel Canto is an hour striking watch, and there aren't many watches out there that can do this at this price point, and they have become very, very popular. So if you are able to get a Christopher Ward Bel Canto, I highly recommend it because they are good looking watches. They're an up and coming brand that have been making big strides in making a name for themselves. And obviously the Bel Canto was a big part of that. Lots of high-end collectors took notice of Christopher Ward when they came out with the Bel Canto. So if you can get a Bel Canto, definitely buy one. You will not be disappointed. These are awesome, awesome watches. Next watch on this list is one of the most expensive watches on this list. It's also a watch that I own. It's the ADLC version of the Cartier Santos. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and buy the ADLC version because you may not like that. However, I think that the new Cartier Santos is amazing. I have the XL, so it's on the larger side, but it gets 100 meters of water resistance, interchangeable strap and bracelet. It's really a watch that's ready to do anything at any time. It's a true go anywhere, do anything watch. And if you have the opportunity to own a Cartier Santos, it's a staple in your collection. You will not be disappointed with this watch. It's something that you will reach for very often because not only is it good looking, but it is extremely capable. The next watch on this list is yet another watch that I own. It's the Colloquium Project 1. This is a fun, irreverent, just weird watch that came out last year. I was able to get into the friends and family version of this, so a watch that was actually not released to the public, and I was able to get one. I'm super happy about that. And it's a watch that will stay in my collection because I love this watch. When I saw it, I jumped on it and I needed to have it. It has a die-cast case. It has one of the most interesting sapphire crystals you'll ever see on any watch. It's a high boxed sapphire crystal. And you need that because the dial is made out of 468 cylindrical markers. So basically cylinders that are sitting on the dial at 6 different heights and diameters. So the widths are actually different and the heights are all different on each one of these little cylinders that sit on the dial, and the top of these cylinders are all painted with Super Luminova. It is an awesome watch. And again, I'll put a link up above to the video that I did for this watch when I first received it. And I am not disappointed by this watch, and I do not regret buying it. That's why I suggest, if you can buy one, jump on one. I think these are already selling for around $7,000. $7,500 is the last time I saw it selling on Chrono24, and with good reason. There's basically none of them out there, and if you want one, it's going to be a year until they make more. So if you want one now, you just can't buy one. So that's why I say jump on it when you get the chance. The next two watches are vintage-inspired watches that I absolutely love. The first one is a watch that I own. Again, it's Baltic. This is the Prismic. I have the stone dials. They just recently released these. One of the best bracelets that I have seen on a watch that cost in that $1,000, $1,500 range. It's a mesh bracelet that integrates to the case perfectly. These get stone dials. You're getting a hand wound and a movement. It's a 7001, which is a very reliable movement as well. I love the look of these watches. They're inspired by cocktail watches from the 1970s. There's really nothing about this watch that I don't like, and I think it looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. They also have other dials with guilloche patterns and other textures on there. All of them, I really like them. I think they look great, and I highly recommend it. I fell in love with this watch when I saw it, and I am so happy to own one. I think they're just awesome. Last but not least, and this is, I think, watch number 16. So I promised 10. This is sort of one of the watches on this list that is just an add-in. It's not part of the list, I guess you would say, but it is the Furlan Marri Disco Volante. I've actually added this to other lists that I've done in the past. It's a disc watch, so it's a circular watch. It looks like a pebble. You're getting a really nice hand wound movement again inside this watch. I believe it's an ETA base as well. It's hand finished, just a beautiful, beautiful design. The case is beautiful. The dial is beautiful. Everything about these watches is just different. And again, it's inspired from the 1970s, 1960s. The design here is interesting. The watches are interesting, and I've seen them in person. And of course, I'm buying one, so I didn't hesitate on this. I don't own it yet. However, I will own one in the near future, and I'm very excited about it. Tell me what you guys think about this list down in the comments below. I know, again, there are plenty of other watches that I could have included in this list. If you know one of those, definitely put it down in the comment section below. Tell me a watch that you think you should not hesitate to buy. It doesn't matter what the price range is. Tell me down in the comment section below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is really helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. And that's really it, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me for this list. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.